Alright. It's a big moment. Big moment right now. Oh, wrong folder. Didn't mean to open that. Whoa. Okay. Alright. Should be able to hear it. Gotta be Minecraft Steve though that makes it in, surely. When's the start? Like 9 minutes? Yeah, 9 minutes. Working, right? Let me test it. Let me hear. Oh, shit. Slap. Okay, Minecraft Steve. We gotta vote. It's gotta be Minecraft Steve. No, maybe the most likely is Gino because of all the leaks. I don't know. Alright. Alright. You rely on facial expressions and I'm your guy. Now let me put this. Alright. Hopefully you'll be able to hear. Go. Man, big moment right now. Where's everyone? I put this on Discord. Alright. 6 minutes. Very big. Dude, this is the time to nut right now. We're gonna be nutting over Minecraft Steve and Smash. Yeah, I know you can't spell. My whole family's asleep, so I'm gonna have to whisper. But the mic should be able to pick it up. Dude, they pick the best times to stream this. Dude, you gotta gird up your pants. We got our main man here, Mr. Sakura. It's just raining heaps just before. And of course, towards midnight stops. The game a moment, let's go. We're making history right now. What is it, 4 minutes? Tell me if you can hear Windows sounds, alright? . Can you hear it? Right, be good. Just gotta make sure the audio level isn't higher than my mic. Yes, yes, yes. Still 4 minutes. Use time's going slow. What's up with this? I haven't played Smash in ages, actually. Sans 2. Let's get Sans 2. Or Frisk. Dude, we gotta hope for Minecraft Steve, though. He'd be perfect. Yeah, Waluigi's gone. We're not getting Waluigi. The only hope is baby Waluigi. Because he's an assist trophy. 3 minutes. Oh, look, it matches with this. Oh no, it's 2 minutes now. Wario in a good outfit. Oh, I really want Shadow. I want Shadow like day one. Remember that Grinch leak? Ah, that's. It was like a leak of the Everyone Is Here. And we got full HD. Let's go. I've never played Tekken. I bet that may be Mortal Kombat, like Scorpion, or someone's gonna get him. It's Shadow Legend. Sponsor of this live stream. One minute. Shit. I don't usually scream though or anything like that watching this stuff, so I should be alright. I'll just go. Yes. Any second now. Come on. Give it to me. Give it to me. Come on. Why can't they put Australian time and make it so much easier? Right, any second. Any second. Hey, Dick Cheese, how's it going?
Hello everyone, I'm Masahiro Sakurai, director of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate from Sora Limited. We'll be using today's showcase to give you a first look at our next DLC fighter.
It's gotta be Mario.
Actually,
Let's get Mario.
Hardly anyone knows what we'll be announcing today, even among Nintendo staff worldwide.
Oh shit, that's
The
surprising.
development team and other stakeholders have been working on this fighter with the utmost secrecy. Which means other Nintendo staff around the globe will only start making preparations for release after the showcase has been broadcast.
Oh shit.
So, it won't be available right away. Please understand that it will take a little time. I think even many Nintendo employees will be surprised to see this and say, wow, really?
Been overworking.
So, let's all share in the fun of getting our hands on the latest information. However, even if you say, that's not the character I was picturing, I hope you don't have any hard feelings.
That's usually my case.
Once it starts, I think you'll figure out
It's always a character I never, I don't know. I'm hoping it's a character I know. I can relate. Alright. What is it? This is, oh, it's gotta be Zelda. Skull Kid? No, it's Fire Emblem. Fuck. What is this? Anime. More anime.
Has finally come to unleash the forbidden spell of Zaharas upon our enemies.
Fucking hell. Of course it's anime. Wow. Yep. It's not Crash Bandicoot, it's not Steve, it's not Scorpion.
What were you thinking, charging right into an enemy's trap?
Oh my god.
As you and I are one, I too am trapped within this void. In time, our hearts and minds will cease to be.
Was this a waste of
Are you
time?
prepared to die?
I think I've just wasted time streaming this. I could be asleep right now.
I thought as much. I also do not wish to die.
Shovel Knight's an assist trophy.
There is no other choice.
Oh my god. You
You
fucking...
must join Smash. Huh? Join Smash Brothers already!
Don't.
What in the
Don't,
world
please.
are you waiting for?
No. Yeah, I know this guy loves the games, dude. So good.
Smash consumes even the darkness itself.
God. I don't know, it's usually sad, you know. Fucking Japan wanting their anime sword fighters.
Sooner than expected. I see. Too many swordsmen are there? And you wield the sword as well?
Well, we got another one too,
What will you do?
because that one just wasn't enough. Out of all the sword fighters we've already got,
So that is how you plan to win the day? So be it.
it's always
I'll
disappointing.
reward your cleverness
God.
this time.
Besides Banjo-Kazooie. That's an exception.
How is this? Have anyone?
Yay.
You should be able to handle the hero's relics.
I'm so happy right now.
Arid Fire, strike with superior reach. Use Amir's overwhelming power.
Check out my middle finger.
Unleash the blinding speed of Failnaught. Along with the sword of the creator, each weapon matches a direction.
Character's got tits, we gotta add him.
Be now as one.
That will attract general audience.
Sides of time are revealed.
Yeah,
Through
here we
Smash,
go.
show the world.
Is this like another Corrin character? Where they're transgender and they've got another version of themselves? It's the opposite gender. What it seems like. Literally the same character, just two different genders.
Yes, there you
Why?
have it. Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses is joining the battle. Fire Emblem Three Houses was released just last summer, so it's still very new. Even so, you'll soon be able to play as them in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This release is planned for
This
January
game is just a
20th.
fucking
You'll have
anime
instant access
game.
if you have the Super
It's
Smash
confirmed.
Bros. Ultimate Fighters Pass, and it will also be available for purchase individually. In case you're not familiar with Fire Emblem
I
or
want
Three
a
Houses,
fucking
I'll
Steve.
explain a few things, so don't worry.
Minecraft
First off,
Steve.
what is Fire Emblem? It's really hard to pronounce in Japanese. The producer said it's okay if I just say Fire Emblem. But when writing it, if you don't write Fire Emblem, the Fire Emblem police will come and get you, so please be careful. The series' first entry launched in Japan on the Famicom in 1990.
I don't give a shit about Fire Emblem.
In the genre of tactical role-playing games. You might be wondering what makes
I'll most likely never play it. I don't know.
Well, it's tactical in that it simulates combat. You can think of it as moving pieces in a board game, or in other words, a game in which you advance units across a grid and battle. When we talk about tactical games of that era, there were lots of ones in which you command tanks, aircrafts, and so on. But Fire Emblem was unique because each unit was a specific character, sort of like in role-playing games. Plus, something made it stand out from
Dude,
other
I'd rather
Nintendo
spend my money on like
characters
6 cheeseburgers at McDonald's.
That's pretty direct language though, so perhaps we should just say they're sleeping with the fishes. But really, if a character fell in battle, you'd lose that unit. They'd be gone and you couldn't use them again.
It should have
Recent
been
entries in the
expected.
series maintain this concept of permadeath to
For some reason I had my
classic
expectations really high.
but a lot of games now allow
Don't know why.
strategic withdrawals, so to speak. In the older games, your units would really be gone, never to be mentioned again. Scary. The game's stories are told like chronicles of war, with increasingly distinct characters and engrossing scenarios. Several characters also appear in the Super Smash Bros. Series, and 6 of the 7 can use a counterattack. It's their down special. There's actually a reason for this. When I was considering how to incorporate Fire Emblem fighters into Super Smash Bros. Melee, I thought it might be interesting to reflect the turn-based nature of the original game. First comes your opponent's turn.
How
They
would that
attack
work?
and you counter. Next comes your turn. And now, Fire Emblem Three Houses is the 17th game in the series. People who aren't Japanese in particular might be
That's a lot of games.
17 games? There are that many? Well, if you include Fire Emblem Heroes in the remakes, but you don't include the Satellaview game, Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, and Fire Emblem Warriors, then it comes out to 17 games. Let's try saying them in the Fire Emblem Can You Say It challenge. I'll give it a try.
暗黒竜と光の剣、外伝、紋章の謎、聖戦の系譜、トラキア776、封印の剣、烈火の剣、聖魔の功績、総縁
Ton of games, but
暁の女神、新暗黒竜新紋章、覚醒イフヒーローズエコーズ風化設立
There you go, 17.
今変な数え方してます
So you saw how I was counting in a weird way, right? I was counting in binary.
つまりこれが
This is 0. Fold this here and you get 1, and then you get 2. Then 2 plus 1 equals 3. So this would be 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then you get 16. Add 1 and you get 17. Awesome, isn't it? You can actually count up to 31 on one hand. And if you use both hands, you can count all the way up to 1023.
like magic right there.
If you've given up counting the knots in a tatami mat, you could always give it a go. What is Fire Emblem Three Houses? In Japanese, the male version of the main character is called Bereto and the female version is called Beresu, but in English they share the same name, Byleth. Byleth becomes a professor who ends up leading one of 3 academic houses. Once you've chosen a house, you guide them through their school life, and, well, you end up fighting the other houses. After a certain incident, 5 years pass, and you meet up with your grown-up students to battle against the other houses in their regions. It's a very sad game in which your former allies become enemies, turn hostile, and try to kill you. To understand the concept of Fire Emblem Three Houses, I played an early version of the game before its release. I've done the same thing before, with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, for example.
Lucky. This man
Because
is
I
a
couldn't
lucky
wait
man.
until launch to experience it, or we'd have never made it in time. For that title, I borrowed an early version of the game for 2 days.
Probably gonna play
ran
Breath
around
of the
all
Wild too
areas,
early too.
saw the ending, and realized for the first time, I guess we can't really have Breath of the Wild's Princess Zelda as a fighter. I did the same this time, but with there being 3 houses and multiple endings, it was really hard to get a feel for it. And of course, there weren't any walkthroughs I could reference. The game has multiple routes, and the outcome of each is very different.
Love the music.
Your experience will vary depending
So
on the route
anime.
you choose, and many of the characters you meet will adopt different roles in the story. I'll try to avoid spoilers when I'm talking about the fighter. I hope you'll understand. Before my demonstration, I should point out that when I did the Terry Bogard showcase video, I mentioned that it was recorded a month in advance. But this time, we have to account for the holidays and such, so we're filming 2 months in advance of this video's release. Right now, it's actually November. Therefore, some of what I'm about to show you might differ a bit from the finished version. As always, I'm using a special in-game camera and such for demonstration purposes. Here I go.
Oh, he's got a special camera.
So this is our new fighter, Byleth.
He just cut there. Like an
Sadly,
audio
they're
cut.
lacking in mobility. It's maybe a bit better than Robin's, but that's about all you can say for them. Throws are not their strong point either. Their grab lacks range. But actually,
They just
you
have
could
the same
say that
character,
they're a
huh?
distance demon. The hero's relic they use changes depending on the direction you input with the stick. Each of the hero's relics is a weapon that appears in Fire Emblem 3 houses. They look like bones, and there's a reason for that.
That's neutral B. Bow.
First, let's talk about the weapon Byleth uses for upward inputs, the Sword of the Creator. The Sword of the Creator here is Byleth's default weapon. They use it for flurry attacks and tilt attacks, such as down tilt attacks, where it takes the form of a whip. They also use the sword for dash attacks and other moves. For their up smash attack, they'll whip the sword upward to launch enemies in the air.
Isn't that what most characters have
For
though?
their up air attack, they'll wave the whip sword overhead. The hit detection for this attack lasts for a relatively long time. The up special move is really something. The sword extends like this, allowing you to do things like this.
Similar to Joker.
It was pretty terrifying how I
Well,
knocked
it's
him into
like
the air
Joker's
with that
grappling
attack.
hook.
And in addition,
Shit,
you can do
just
awful
got
things
spiked.
like this. That said, you'll launch opponents upward until their damage reaches a certain percentage.
Like the quality just got worse. So.
Exceed that percentage and you'll need to be careful. You may find it helpful to mid-air dodge.
Buffering.
I've already shown this, but you can also use it to latch onto edges.
Yeah, so it's like
that's
Joker.
the up special. Now, for the sideways inputs. This is Erdfar, the same name as the weapon from Celtic mythology. First, we'll go through the forward and back air attacks. As you can see, they have a long reach. Like so. Marth's air attack keeps opponents in check too, right? If Byleth does the same thing, you'd win out, so you should be able to beat it. Next, the side smash attack. This also has a long range. It'll connect even from here.
Alright.
Also, if you add an upward tilt, it will be stronger. And if you've knocked an opponent down, the side attack won't hit unless you add a downward tilt to aim for them. By the way, the tip of the lance is more powerful. The shaft part is weaker, so it's not suited to close combat. It won't deal much damage, and it won't launch opponents far. That's why, as a rule, you want to hit with the blade part aimed upward, or downward in this case. Next, the side special move. Byleth will simply swing the lance like this. But again,
Wish we could have just got this in a Nintendo
for
Direct or
example,
something.
even when your opponent is at this distance, it'll still hit.
Just like the character reveal. Not, we don't really need the gameplay.
Actually, you can do a smash attack to
Maybe
charge
some
forward a
people
little,
might, but
like this. But as you'd expect, it can be easily shielded, so be careful. Use it in midair and you'll carve up a large area. Returning to the side air attacks from earlier, they have great horizontal reach, but they lack verticality.
each was pretty cool.
So this complements it
Also,
well, although you'll be vulnerable when you land. Now, for the downward inputs. For these, Byleth will use an axe called Emir. It's named after a weapon that appears in Ugaritic myth. First, the down air attack. It really is strong. You can try for a meteor effect with this attack. Next is the down smash attack. A heavy swing of the axe back and forth. As you can see, it has a great deal of launch power. And for the down special, Byleth channels all their energy into a devastating strike. It's a bold move, similar to the Falcon Punch, but here's what makes it different. When readying the move, there's a super armor effect, which allows you to withstand an attack. Just so you know, if you execute a Falcon Punch at about the same time, it plays out like this. It's a bit slower than the Falcon Punch, but due to the super armor effect, you have the advantage. Unless you get grabbed.
alright.
Another notable aspect is that it lets you pass through platforms. While you're charging up, you can breeze past platforms like this to reach a lower area. It won't let you jump, but you could use it as a surprise attack. Also, you can turn around during the move. The swing takes a while, so if an opponent runs behind you during the move, you can quickly change direction.
What even goes through their minds when they choose characters?
It can be really effective when used against a group of opponents.
What's so many characters like this though?
Plus, even if you fail to land a direct
You don't
hit,
need another
any
sword
opponents on the
fighter.
ground nearby will still be launched a little.
Morph, anime,
It's as
type
if
of shit.
quaking of the ground
We don't need
launches
that.
them. By the way, earlier I talked a little bit about the other
Make
Fire
Japan
Emblem characters'
happy.
moves. I don't recommend using this down special against fighters from the Fire Emblem series, because you'll just get loads of counters. It hits with that much power in a single attack. Counters can actually multiply the power of blocked attacks, and using easily anticipated attacks like this could just get you hit by counter after counter. Next, we have the neutral moves. The bow you use is called Failnaught, which shares its name with the bow from the Knights of the Round Table.
It looks from
It only
Undertale,
appears in a
the
few
whole.
neutral moves.
I'll
You've got
refer
the
it to
neutral
that.
air attack. This attack is similar to a move of Pit's and other fighters like him. It lets you spin the weapon around. It's also easy to create certain combos with it. And with the neutral special, you'll let loose an arrow. It seems pretty straightforward, right?
Great, yeah.
But there are a few noteworthy aspects to this bow. First, the biggest difference between this bow and Link's is that once you enter the command, you can keep charging until it's ready. You can't release it partway through the charge, so when it does fire, the arrow travels at high speed. It's also very powerful. That said, you can still cancel out of the stance using the shield button. You can also change direction while in the stance. It works up until this point, but if you keep holding the button, you'll unleash a powerful arrow that looks like a beam of light. You can perform this move by keeping the button held down. You charge up power like so, charge a bit more, and then fire. But again, you'll need to take care when using this move.
Wonder
For
what other
one,
people's
when you power
reactions
up
are
the
gonna
move
be.
to its max, there's no way to cancel out of it. Not even with the
I
shield
wanna see
button.
everyone else's
In other
reactions
words,
to
you're
this.
committed to firing it. So you see, a
If it's
situation like this
disappointing like
is pretty
mine, I don't
terrible.
know.
Once you've entered the stand, you won't be able to do anything. Which means it's quite the risky attack to use against fighters who have a move with a reflector effect. But you could always just aim into the fray, as it is, after all, a long-range move, letting you deal a sudden blow to opponents. So you need to think carefully when using this projectile weapon. Byleth's final smash is called Progenitor God Ruptured Heaven. In the original game, there's a move called Ruptured Heaven. This is an enhanced version.
Yeah. You've got anime-woman.png that hooks you out.
And launch an attack together.
Big titty anime girl, PNG file, pops up.
Now, let's talk about the color variations. It's set up so that the default and odd-numbered color variations are male, while the even-numbered ones are female. However, the third, fourth, and fifth colors are, as you can see, reminiscent of the house leaders. Those of you who played the original game will of course understand what I'm referring to. The sixth color is based on Sothis, who you just saw earlier. And the seventh and eighth variations have a different hair color, which is based on something that occurs in the course of the original game's story. Didn't we see this variation in the final smash?
This occurs, I'm pretty sure that's called hair dye, but... Alright. Hair dye occurs.
Next, I'll introduce the stage. For this one, we of course tried to recreate the place where you spend most of the game, Garreg Mach Monastery.
Nice.
This is how Garreg Mach Monastery is laid out in the original game. From these, we chose to have it cycle through the marketplace, reception hall, bridge, and cathedral, all in one stage. It's the type of stage that rotates through different areas, such as these four. Let me introduce each of the guests that appear in these four areas. The first area is the marketplace.
I keep watching this.
I think this is where a lot of people come to do their shopping. The guests that appear here are students of the Blue Lion's house, Dimitri, Dedu, and Ingrid.
There's so many
Not
high expectations.
Dimitri, Dudu, or Ingrid. Their names are a bit difficult to say. They're largely from the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. Since it's a kingdom, that means they have a monarchy. For that reason, I guess you could say Dimitri's the future king. He had quite a difficult life and may or may not end up with just one eye. He's an unfortunate one, that one. There are vendors on either side. In the original game, these are important booths where you buy all sorts of things, but here you can break them, you see. If you do break them,
Half-Life 2.
the stage will expand to the left and right.
Right.
I wonder where
okay.
people will buy their supplies now. And in the background, you can see the gate.
Oh my god, look at the graphics, oh my
You
god.
often
Like,
pass through this
oh my
area in
god.
Fire Emblem 3 houses, and you end up talking to them a lot.
Textures.
Moving through these areas is possible thanks to this mysterious platform.
Very low red.
Just when it seems like you've come to a stop,
Video is buffering a lot.
you'll come crashing back down. You've broken through the ceiling and slammed into the building. And the guests in the reception hall are Edelgard, Dorothea, and Petra of the Black Eagles. Take note, it's not spelled Edelgard,
For this game, this was meant to be a game for good boys and girls.
and as such, they embrace their military might.
I don't know what happened to that.
Edelgard is one of the characters who is central to the conflict. Depending on the path you take, she'll go through some terrible ordeals. You'll notice there are prominent chandeliers above the stage. It's possible to knock them down.
Random girls just standing there posing.
However, Byleth can't actually reach it, even though it's their stage. You can reach it with other fighters, though. So, it's nice if you can work your way up there by getting lucky and being launched up, or perhaps by using another fighter as a
Someone's
stepping
gonna
stone.
camp up there. People are
There we
gonna
go.
camp up.
I made it. And you can knock it down.
Someone's gonna stay up there and just
Also,
camp.
you can break this table. Like so.
How was this a good idea?
Just like the sign that
Someone-
reads Fudin Kazan in the Suzaku Castle stage, it can break if you launch the opponent into it at close range. Next up, the bridge. The camera rotates 90 degrees, creating this long area. It's very wide indeed.
結構横幅も広いんです
What she said.
It's similar to the Bridge of Elden stage.
ゲストはヒルシュ
The guests are from the Golden Deer, Claude, Hilda, and Lawrence.
これはレスター
They belong to the Leicester
人
Alliance.
々ですね。諸行同盟ということはまあつまり連邦とか連合とかそういうような感じで
Because it's an alliance of many noble families, you could say that they have a wide assortment of members. And Claude is the sharpest of the bunch. Incidentally, both Claude and Hilda are the names of characters that appear in Genealogy of the Holy War, the 4th title in the Fire Emblem series. I guess once you've reached the 17th game and are creating 40 characters for each new entry, you're bound to get a bit of name overlap. The naming process must be tough. Hey, it looks like the Pegasus Knight is busy training. As for the bridge's design, it's just a long pathway, plain and simple. You can expect plenty of blows to be exchanged.
That's what these characters are.
You could also say it's a
Plain
place
and
where the
simple.
Fairmont really shines, and in this sense, I think it suits the Golden Deer perfectly. The last area is the cathedral, only with some platforms you can pass through. The guests appearing in the cathedral are Sedith, Flayn, and Rhea. There's Sedith, who appears to have an extremely strong bond with his sister, Flayn. She seems to be under the protection of him and Rhea, who you can see fighting during the opening of Fire Emblem Three Houses. All three have character quirks related to their true identities. I feel that Flame might be saying shush at this point, so I'll leave it at that. This is a simple area of the stage. All it has are these platforms. Being the last area, it may be a place where some intense battles will be waged. It'll cycle through each location in about 2.5 minutes. Okay, today we'll have a tag team battle in Squad Strike with the DLC team pitted against Fire Emblem.
Is this even necessary watching this still?
That'll give us precisely 5 players per side. Alright, here we go, Joker.
That's about it.
Joker! And Hero! Gee, we really made a lot.
Dislikes on this.
Banjo! By now, I think you know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm disliking.
But basically, I'm trying to defeat all 5 opponents with just the Professor here. But as expected, it's going to be a pretty tough battle, so I'm using anything I can get my hands on. It's not going to land that easily. Uh-oh, this is bad.
This basically sums up the whole reveal.
I better keep my distance. I'll use this chance to attack.
Or it could be the price we have to pay for Bender.
That's scary. He's invincible for a moment here.
Safety character.
Lots of explosives. Ouch. He perfect shielded that. Huh?
Yeah, that's insane. That's actually ridiculous.
If I do this, or like so. No anti-air, huh? There, the soccer ball connected. Good, there's Mom. You're in a good spot, Mom. Ah, I shouldn't have taken that. Gardevoir. Well, I guess no one uses projectiles. At this point, it doesn't matter if Gardevoir's there or not.
Why people say mom?
I feel like the enemy might get this smash ball.
That's
See? They got it. But I mustn't give up. I can't waste this chance.
The dislikes on this is crazy.
There's another smash ball.
They just increased like so much.
Now, what are you charging up for? There's still more. Whack. Go on, you can take
It
the
could
hammer,
be fun to
but it's
use, I
mine.
don't know.
Although I'm scared I might get hit with a counter in this state. I hit him. I was trying to fight using Byleth's abilities alone, but what matters is that I won. Good game. It can be fun to play like this, especially in tag team, so I think it's a good idea to try imposing different types of challenges on yourself. The end.
Yeah, I don't need this.
Now, about the additional music. Since it's
Alright, I'm just gonna end it here. The majority of people are disappointed from this. So many better characters they could have added. For some reason they choose another anime sword fighter. Two to be in fact. One's an echo fighter though, I think, so yeah. Well, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna stop the stream here.